Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to another episode of Brewing It Live with me, Lotus, and that one over there, Han.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. And if you don't listen to our podcast, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that listens, watches, and helps us. We actually did our 100th episode last week as a total team of Into the 99. And we had a notification to say that our podcast was in the top 10% of the world through Apple Podcast, which is a fantastic thing. So we can't do that without you. So thank you very much.
Hey, congratulations to everybody, and thank
Hey.
you.
So today, as you might have heard from last week, Han wanted to do Zabaz the Glimmerwasp. So Han,
Yeah,
would you like to talk us through the card?
sure. Zabaz the Glimmerwasp is a Boros color identity commander. Um, Zabaz is 1 mana value for a legendary artifact creature. Type is insect. It comes in as a 0/0, but it has modular 1. Modular means that it comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. And if this creature dies, you could also move that +1/+1 counter or any number of +1/+1 counters from Zabaz onto a different creature you have on the battlefield. Um, so in addition to having modular 1, Zabaz also reads, if a modular triggered ability would put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. So you get 1 extra one. Zabaz has 2 activated abilities. For a red, you can destroy a target artifact that you control. And for a single white, you can give Zabaz the Glimmerwasp flying until end of turn. So lots of text on it, but by paying 1 red, you can sacrifice your own artifact, including Zabaz, if you would like, and any other artifacts that you might happen to run in this deck. And now, very recently, we had a slew of cards that are great for artifacts in the Lorehold commander deck that came out.
Yeah.
And some of them are absolutely phenomenal in here.
I'm kind of sad that this doesn't have green in its identity, but I think green would make it super overpowered.
It
Um,
totally would.
yeah. So Evening Ashen, Benson, and Lotto Carnage, welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing? Benson, Lotto Carnage. I'm looking forward to some of the suggestions that you guys have.
And
There's a
a
shawarma
Kamigawa
place.
one.
Yeah, yeah, inevitably. There's a shawarma place near me called Babaz, and it's all I can think of when I read its name.
Wasp on a stick. Oh no,
Yeah,
Boros, this is going to hurt me greatly. Think of it as Doorhold.
it is very Lorehold.
It doesn't sting as much. Oh no, that's sorry. Puns already. So So when you told me about this, I went away and worked out what could I do with this. And I think it's going to be a very +1/+1 heavy modular artifact build.
Sure.
But beyond that, my decision of how I was building it was going to be very based on chat because
Yeah. Lotto
it's
Carnage.
it's a difficult one to go with.
Yeah, Lotto Carnage. Let's go ahead and just throw some suggestions out, and we'll just see how the deck winds up building itself. I'm more than happy to throw in some suggestions that you would like to see in, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I mean, for me, generally, my usual is just you know uh, nothing too competitive as far as what I was thinking of. You know, upgrading the Lorehold deck was kind of like a basis for how I built it, just because it's going to be very easy to shove Zabaz in as the commander for that deck.
Hmm.
However, you know, there's like I said, there's a lot of good artifact Boros cards that came out with the Lorehold set, and some of them just made it in here. But we can always go with other ones as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make it fun though.
Yeah, my biggest thing is try not to put anything in like tabernacle, anything like expensive. Let's not budget it, but not go unrealistic for the average player.
Right. And I mean, keep in mind, so because Zabaz has modular, yeah, LED might not make it. Underworld Breach might. Um, but yeah, so modular in and of itself, there's only been about 20-ish cards, even including Modern Horizons 2, that have modular at all.
Okay.
So if you wanted to lean heavily into modular, you certainly can, and Zabaz can certainly become very big. Um, but yeah, not all of the modular cards are very expensive at all. Um, Arcbound Ravager being the big one that sees a lot of play just because of its insane
Yeah.
value on the card itself. Um, However, yeah, so let me start us off with a couple of things that I noticed as soon as I saw Zabaz.
Okay. Go for it.
Ashen says 22 modular cards specifically to be precise. Um, so the first couple of cards that I saw Zabaz and my brain just went because of all of the new spoilers that came out. Uh, One of the ones that really just stood out to me is Abiding Grace. So Abiding Grace is 2 and a white for an enchantment that says at the beginning of your next end step, choose one. You gain 1 life, or you can return a target creature card with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Ooh.
So this just screamed at me saying, let Zabaz go to the graveyard. You can just sacrifice it before the beginning of your end step, and Zabaz will come back. You just never ever have to you don't ever have to pay commander tax as long as you have Abiding Grace out.
I mean,
So
also, you could, even if you don't need to, pay a red, destroy it, move the modular counter, and just bring it straight back.
correct. So you can just get modular 1, move those counters or whatever other counters you have on Zabaz immediately onto another creature you have.
Yeah. Lotto Carnage, start with a Soul Ring. I think in an artifact deck, Ashen should say that it's a good idea.
Certainly.
I mean, tapping for 2 for 1, get our commander out still on turn 1.
Yep. Seems great. And Ashen says, on the use of that red ability, Spine of Ishsaw. So Spine of Ishsaw is a fantastic one. I agree with this.
Okay.
Uh, Spine of Ishsaw is a 7 mana artifact. When Spine of Ishsaw enters the battlefield, destroy a target permanent. When Spine of Ishsaw is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Spine of Ishsaw to its owner's hand.
Huh. So that's a
Ashen,
repeatable effect. Nice.
yep, for 7 mana. Uh, Ashen says, nope, not even in an artifact deck, unless colorless.
I'm
I beg to differ.
I'm going to teach you, Ashen.
Yep. So yeah, we can certainly do a lot of repeatable effects with artifacts. Things such as Ichor Wellspring will just immediately just get us all kinds of value. Ichor Wellspring is 2 mana for an artifact. When Ichor Wellspring enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So pay
Seems
2,
good.
destroy an artifact, get another card.
Yeah, this seems good. I mean, we
Yep,
could
2
also
for 1.
put in a Krark Clan Ironworks, so we could sack them for
Mhm.
mana if need be, so we didn't have to pay the red.
Yep, absolutely.
Krark Ironworks. There you are. So Krark Clan Ironworks is a 4 mana artifact. Sacrifice an artifact. Add 2 colorless to your mana pool.
Yep, seems pretty great.
Yeah. Ashen says Myco Synth Wellspring as well.
Yep, Mycosynth Wellspring, 2 mana for an artifact. When Mycosynth Wellspring enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card. reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle.
Seems good. So when I was looking at this, because I was a bit stumped when you said this last week that we're going to do the Glimmerwasp.
Right.
One card that did come to mind was Alabu.
Alabu? Yes, absolutely.
This one was in the commander deck, but it was a 3 red white for a legendary artifact creature golem. Other artifact creatures you control have haste, and whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alabu deals X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control.
Yep.
I think
So
that would pair
with the
very
sheer
nicely.
yeah, with the sheer volume of artifacts that we're probably going to be running in this deck, due to Zabaz just wanting to destroy target artifacts. Yeah, Alabu, we can just swing in and immediately get a ton of value off of just
Yeah,
simply attacking.
yeah. I think making it a modular, well, in my mind, it was a modular combat trick deck.
Sure.
So, Evening Luther, if you are running Abiding, perhaps some funniness with things like Chromatic Star and the Spell Bombs.
Sure.
So,
So, uh, yeah, we got, I believe, Pyrite Spellbomb.
yeah, well, Chromatic Star is a 1 mana artifact that you can pay 1 and tap, sacrifice, add a color of any mana, and when it's
Mhm.
put into a graveyard, draw a card. Plus, it does return as you save Abiding Grace.
Yep.
And the Spell Bombs?
Yeah, so it'd be Pyrite Spellbomb and I believe Sunbeam Spellbomb. Pyrite Spellbomb is one mana for an artifact. You pay a red and sacrifice the Pyrite Spellbomb. It deals 2 damage to any target. Or you can also pay 1 and sacrifice it to draw a card. So you can get repeatable draw.
Yeah.
However, yeah, Abiding Grace is a target creature card with mana value 1. So that's the only other issue with trying to get those back specifically.
Yeah. And Spell Bomb is white, gain 5 life after sacrificing it, or a generic to draw a card.
Yeah. Lotto Carnage says, I like the boring stuff. So Smothering Tithe, Arcane Signet, Land Tax, Talisman, Boros Signet, Mindstone, Thought Vessel, Vesper Sentinel, Wandering Archaic. All right, cool.
Okay, let's start from the top. Let's go with
Yeah.
Smothering Tithe as the
Smothering Tithe. Yep. So Smothering Tithe is one of our favorite white enchantments that have gone up in price just constantly. Up and up and up and up we go.
Yep.
Smothering Tithe, 3 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player pays 2. If the player does not, you create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, sacrifices artifact, add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah. Arcane Signet is 2 mana, but it taps for any color of our commander identity.
Right.
One of the staples that they probably shouldn't have created, but did. Land tax. Okay, so I agree with land tax. Land tax is a fantastic card. A single white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search your library for up to three basic land cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. Totally agree. With a Boros deck, we need land tax. However, I would like to pair that with
With your other favorite artifact.
with my new favorite artifact, Archaeomancer's Map. For 2 and a white, it's an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic planes, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player controls more lands than you, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. So as long as we can keep stocking up with land tax, we can keep up with the green ramp decks in white.
Or going hand in hand with that, I would also say Walking Atlas does everything that we want. Walking Atlas is a 2-mana artifact for a creature construct. It has the activated ability tap. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, and it's just a 1/1.
Seems good. What else have we got from Lotto Carnage? I do agree with the Esper Sentinel, though. If we're doing modular, that card is going to be a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So, Esper Sentinel, 1 white for a artifact creature human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card, unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. It's currently a 1/1 when it comes in, but with our modular triggers, we could probably make that a lot bigger.
Yeah, so we're going to be drawing a lot of cards just off of Esper Sentinel. And again, if we have a Biding Grace, we can just bring it back. And we
Yeah,
could always sacrifice other artifacts with Zabaz to put. Yeah, this seems great.
yeah. That Abiding Grace is a really powerful uncommon.
Yeah, that's the one I was supremely surprised and looking out for the entire time.
Yeah,
Um, so here's a hot take on a fun artifact that could be going into this deck immediately.
okay.
Uh, we're looking at Alibu, and so anytime you attack with one or more artifact creatures you control, Alibu will deal X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. I think so. We're going to be swinging with a bunch of artifact creatures. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, what about throwing a grafted exoskeleton right in here, right off the bat?
Are you I can't?
What? What? We have Zabaz. Zabaz is an insect. What
True.
rhymes with insect?
Infect.
There you go. Got
Sure.
there.
I suppose wasps do have venom. No,
Hmm.
they're not venomous. Are they venomous or poisonous?
We'll go with poisonous for now. However,
Venomous is if they
so
bite you. Poisonous is if you eat it, but they don't bite, they sting. So is it a venom?
I don't know. All I know is that we're gonna give some poison counters out.
Okay.
So, grafted exoskeleton on an Alibu can potentially just infect somebody out, depending on how many artifacts we have. Well, artifact creatures we have attack.
That's fair.
Although it's just tapped artifacts, so could be both. Yeah, I quite like the idea of just throwing down a grafted exoskeleton, and let's go ahead and just yeah, let's just go ahead and give Zabaz +2/+2 and flying, or any other combination of such. Yeah.
Seems
So
reasonable.
to go, yeah. So to go hand in hand with that, I also like the idea of throwing in a. Where did that go? Is it Brea's Apprentice?
Oh, what, the new one?
Yeah. We always have the older one as well, though.
So Brea's Apprentice is the new one for 2 and a red. Artifact creature, human artificer. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Tap, sacrifice an artifact, and choose one. Exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card, or target creature gets +2/+0 till end of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see that. If I
So
went for
yeah,
Glissa for the next deck, like I have mentioned through not 100% on the next commander, that wouldn't run Soul Ring either. You need to
that's
snap out of it,
entirely your
Ashen.
call. um, yeah. So let's see. We already threw in the Arcade Signet, Land Tax, Boros Signet is in there as well. Nope,
Yeah.
no Boros Signet yet.
No, you want a Boros Signet? We can put a Boros Signet
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
So,
Wasps can inject venom with their stingers. Yep.
so Boros Signet is a 2-mana, pay 1 into it, and add red, white. Would we prefer a Boros Signet or a Talisman
I think
of...
either one's fine.
I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Hierarchy? No. I think we'll stick with the other one because I don't know the name.
I'll find it for you.
But I'm going to stick with the Boris Signet just for ease. But I like Talismans over the Signets now, just because it doesn't have the restriction of paying 1 into it. I can just tap it. Conviction.
It's fair.
There we go. Talisman of Conviction.
There you go. And it could potentially have been reprinted in Modern Horizons 1.
Maybe?
So let's go ahead and add some fun cards
Well,
on it.
Lotto has already suggested Dockside Extortion.
Yeah, that's certainly one that gets a lot of artifacts very quickly.
Yeah, so 1 and a red, Goblin Pirate, 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, between that, we also have Archaeomancer's map to draw us a bunch of cards and Smothering Tithe. Yeah, we can have a lot of treasures.
Yeah.
So we also have Arcbound Worker from Luther.
Yeah.
Arcbound Worker. That one's the 1-mana artifact creature with construct with modular 1. It's a 0/0.
Yep.
Modular 1.
Yep. Nice and simple. Comes back with Abiding Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Hope of Girapur as well from Luther.
Yep.
I
Hope of
love
Girapur.
the Hope of Girapur. 1 mana, Thopter, legendary artifact creature with flying, 1/1. Sacrifice it. Until your next turn, target player who was dealt combat damage by Hope of Girapur this turn can't cast non-creature spell.
Yep.
And if we've
Seems
got
pretty
it,
great.
if we've got it with haste with Alabu, that's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, Alabu's phenomenal in this deck. We also have Conviction from Ashen as well as Steel Overseer. Steel Overseer is phenomenal.
Let's do Conviction. I presume it's the enchantment aura. Oh no, Talisman.
Oh no, Conviction was for the Talisman.
Was
right.
the Talisman.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, so Steel Overseer. So Steel Overseer is another card that does see a lot of play. Got a reprint in M20, and I believe it was also in the Lorehold deck. 2 mana for an artifact creature construct, 1/1 that has tap. Put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. So yes, please.
Yeah. I do agree with Lotto Carnage though. Deflecting Swat is a definitely good card for this.
Sure.
2 and a red, instant. If you control your commander, you may cast this without paying its mana cost, and choose new targets for target spell or ability. Just a nice way of saving anything on our board.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, we can make a ton of them.
yeah, and Flawless Maneuver doing the same thing. We control our commander, it's free. But creatures you control gain indestructible till end of turn. These were
Commander 20.
Yeah, these were dodgy to print, but I'm glad they did, personally.
I think one of the auto includes for this deck is a Loyal Apprentice. 1 and a red for a hasty 2/1 human artificer with Lieutenant at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn.
One thing that has come to mind, actually, Steel Overseer was the one that triggered it for me. There's a card that I think we should really put in this deck. The Ozolith. It's 1 mana for a legendary artifact. When a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. So,
Yeah.
if I'm right in thinking, and Ash can correct me if I'm wrong, if a creature with modular dies, we can put one or more. We put the counters on a creature, but also we can put the same amount of counters on the Ozolith. So technically doubling up our counters.
Because modular is a trigger, right?
Yeah. So technically we can sack Zabaz, put our +1 counter on, say, Walking Atlas, and a +1 counter on the Ozolith. Go to combat. The Ozolith puts another counter, which was the one from Zabaz.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. Because functionally, Ozolith is not actually moving counters around.
No, it's whenever a creature dies, if
And
it
it's
had counters.
right. And it's not taking those counters
But
away.
but
So
it's something that is worth checking actually. When this creature dies, you may put
yeah,
its +1 counters on target artifact.
yeah.
Whenever a creature control leaves the battlefield, if it had +1 counters on it, put those counters on the other. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's worth checking.
Yeah, because I also would imagine that because both are triggers, they both resolve and they hand out brand new counters to Ozolith and any one artifact creature. That's how I believe it should work. That being said, uh, I think that that's a fun way to definitely break modular plus adding +1/+1 counters just to kind of go around. Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems pretty great. And if that works correctly, do we want to Ionic Resonator that?
I'm yeah.
Yeah. So Psionic Resonator, 2 mana for an artifact. Tap 2 mana and tap the Psionic Resonator. Copy target triggered ability you control.
I'm gonna
You
put
may
that
choose new targets for the copy.
straight into the maybe board just in case.
Sure. We can jam it in.
Oh,
So getting back to the modular cards, there are quite a few.
mm.
Not all of them are great. However, let's start with Arcbound Crusher. Uh,
Arcbound Crusher.
Crusher is a 4 mana artifact creature, Juggernaut, 0/0 with trample. So I already love it. It has trample. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Arcbound Crusher, and it has modular 1.
Ooh.
So yeah. So anytime an artifact enters the battlefield off of our Loyal Apprentice, off of, oh, I don't know, Dockside Extortionist, this thing will get ginormous.
That's scary.
And it has modular 1.
True. Uh,
So
just trying to catch up with chat just to make sure I've not lost anything. The Modern Horizon 2 ones aren't. Arcbound Overseer, Ravager, Scrapyard Recombiner.
yeah, so Modern Horizon 2 ones, we'll probably get to some of those in a second. But yeah, Arcbound Overseer, Ravager, Scrapyard, Recombinator.
Yeah, so Arcbound Overseer. Oh, this one I remember back in the day. So an 8 mana 0/0 artifact creature golem. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1 counter on each creature with modular you control. And it has modular 6.
Mhm.
That's disgusting.
Right.
Whenever a triggered ability would put one or more +1 counters on a creature you control. So that with our commander just puts 2 on.
Yep, potentially.
It's disgusting. I like it. Arcbound Ravager. That's the expensive one,
Although
isn't it?
it says Zabaz says if a modular triggered ability would put one or more +1/+ counters on it. So would that trigger off of the regular triggered ability, or does it have to be through modular?
It'd probably be modular, actually.
Yeah. So I think that, so in this case, modular 6 would move 6 +1/+1 counters +1, so 7.
Yeah. That's,
Still good.
yeah, it's still good.
Now, as soon as I see cards like this, though, it does make me want to throw in things to discard Arcbound Overseer. Um, things such as Trash for Treasure comes to mind, um, or if you think about actually Trash for Treasure doesn't quite work. I was thinking about ooh, Faithless Looting, right?
Okay.
So something like Faithless Looting will go ahead and you draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. So you can choose which 2 cards you want to discard. So things such as the 8 drop or the 7 drops that we have could
Yeah.
go straight into the bin. And my immediate thoughts are to just bring them back in alternate ways. Um, can you think of any fun goblins that do that?
Um, Goblin Engineer
Engineer is a fantastic one.
and Goblin
Time Spiral.
Welder.
Yeah. That
So
was the one I was excited about.
let me just check what Goblin Engineer does before we go to the Welder. Uh,
Sure.
Goblin Engineer is 1 and a red, Artificer Goblin, 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an artifact card, put that card in your graveyard and shuffle. Pay a red, sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact card with converted mana cost 3 or less in the graveyard to the battlefield. I mean, that's
Yep.
still good.
Yep. You can still ETB, get that effect, throw this,
Yeah.
we can throw this and anything else straight into it. And
The
yeah, the
Welder
Overseer can just come
was,
back.
yeah. And the Welder is a 1-drop, 1/1
Yep.
Goblin Artificer. Choose target artifact a player controls and target artifact card in that player's graveyard. If both targets are still legal as the ability resolves, simultaneously sacrifice the artifact and return the artifact card to the battlefield. So just swap them.
Yep. And you can do this on any player. So, hey, there's a pesky artifact on your opponent's side. Swap it.
Bye, Soul Ring.
Certainly. Ah, I love it so much. Uh,
Yeah.
so then we have other ones. We had, let's scroll back up. Ravager. So Arcbound Ravager is the one that we already spoke about. However, this is the one that sees a lot of play. Arcbound Ravager, 2 mana for an artifact creature beast, 0/0. Uh, sacrifice an artifact, no mana cost. Sacrifice an artifact. Very powerful. Put a +1/+1 counter on Arcbound Ravager. It has modular 1.
Yeah,
This card is so good.
that's dumb. That's
Yeah, the
so
amount of
dumb.
sacrifice an artifact at instant speed. Just put as many +1/+1 counters on Arcbound Ravager as you would like.
Yeah.
Yup.
And
Seems
because
pretty great.
most of the stuff that's important to us is artifacts, if
Mm.
someone wants to exile our board, we can just sacrifice absolutely everything. Ooh, which brings me to another card actually. Um,
Mm.
is it Wake the Past?
Yep.
Wake the
The
Past.
lower hold one.
5 white red sorcery. Return all artifact cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Yeah. Just sack our whole board and then return it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, along the same lines, 6 mana for Open the Vaults will do a similar effect. Open the Vaults is 4 white white for a sorcery. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from all graveyards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Generally speaking, enchantments are very strong. Bring them all back. Does this help us more because we have way more artifacts to swing with?
I think most of our deck's going to be artifact.
Right. Because you also keep in mind, right? So this will also bring back Alibu, which will give all other artifact creatures you control haste
Yeah.
when you bring everything back.
And then
So
when you
this
swing with it,
still, yeah, this will still generally speaking do more for us than our opponents.
yeah. I think this is one of the occasions I would actually agree that Open the Vaults is good for us.
Yep. Can be risky, can even be a dead card potentially. So, there is that. Don't get me wrong. However, the ceiling on this, ooh, that's spicy.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the name of it, but is it? It's not Harsh Mentor. What's the creature? That when an artifact enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Is it Harsh Mentor?
Oh. No, that's a different thing. You're thinking about Reckless Fireweaver, though.
I think that would be a nice card to run. So 1 and a red, Human Artificer 1/3. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Just
Yep.
incidental damage.
Yep, that's not a problem at all.
Yep, Ashton got you.
uh, so yeah, Reckless Fireweaver is fantastic. Um, I feel like we kind of have to discuss the other Lorehold face commander at this point, right? So Osgir the Reconstructor seems pretty great. 2 red and a white for a legendary giant artificer. 4/4 with vigilance. Pay 1 mana, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. That creature can have modular. Pay X mana and tap Osgir the Reconstructor. Exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are a copy of the exiled card. Activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can get 2 copies of, I don't know, the Arcbound Overseer that we just talked about that we're throwing into the bin. We can throw in the Crusher. We can throw in pretty much anything.
Yeah. Um, Luther has
A
also
lot of
said mere scrappling and sparring construct, just in case.
okay.
So
Mere scrap.
let's have a look at mere scrappling because I don't think I know that one. Oh, it's one
One
of the
mana.
new ones.
Yeah, 1 mana for an artifact mirror. 1/1, and you can sacrifice it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature.
Yeah,
So instead of doing it modularly, you can just sacrifice itself.
yeah, that's good. And then sparring construct, that the same thing.
Barring construct.
1 mana, 1/1 artifact creature construct. When it dies, put a +1 counter on target creature you control.
Yeah, it just has to die properly
Yeah,
as opposed to being able to sacrifice it. Yeah.
that's cool.
Okay. Ashen says both Ozlith and the artifact creature that would get counters for modular death occurring would get counters for a modular death occurring, but only the artifact creature would get an extra counter from Zabaz unless you made the Ozlith a creature.
Okay, so I
Okay,
was right
makes
to
sense.
say that the Ozolith just doubles up counters when they die, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
through modular.
Lotto, Luminous Brood Moth.
get
Oh,
get to trigger modular, then bring things back with flying and repeat. I
so
love it.
Mothra, Supersonic Queen, or Luminous Brood Moth, is 2 white white for an insect, 3/4 flyer. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. So we can technically sacrifice Sunning, it returns, and sacrifice it again. Just because we can.
Sure.
And the funny thing about that is the Mothra, or Luminous Broodmoth, puts a flying counter on it. So when it dies the second time, we can put the flying counter on the Ozolith. And then move all
Yep.
that and all the counters to one creature and fly over for big damage.
Yep. Seems great.
Yeah.
So here's a fun one that I would like to suggest just on the back of Luther here. Luther says Contagion Engine, perhaps, mayhaps. I am all for this. Contagion Engine, 6 mana for an artifact. When Contagion Engine enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature target player controls. Pay 4 mana and tap, proliferate, then proliferate again.
Oh, you monsters.
+1/+1. Counters for us. Yes, please.
Hmm.
-1 counters for you. Okay.
Is it Khan's Bastion that does the same thing?
It just proliferates once, I believe, Karn's Bastion.
Khan.
It's just on a land. It's not
Yes.
proliferate twice though.
No, but it's something that's more difficult to deal with. So
Oh,
it
for sure.
taps for colorless, pay for proliferate. Just seems I can cut a waste for that card. Job's done.
Job's done. Lotto Carnage says Sun Titan / Savine's Reclamation. I quite like
Oh,
Savine's.
uh,
Um, Sun Titan, as much of an all-star as it is, yeah, 6/6 with vigilance.
I don't know.
And when it ETBs or attacks, you may return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So do we
Uh,
put? I'm gonna put in Savine's Reclamation because I play this in my Coal deck. Um,
yeah,
and this is silly.
the fact that you can flashback it and bring two things, three
Yeah.
or less, I mean, it's fantastic. It can get you your Abiding Grace back, right?
Yep.
Just as an example. You can also get back any of your modular creatures here. But yeah, I mean, just think about the potential it's got right off the bat. I mean, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Is everything? We've got a mixture of creatures. Got Juggernaut,
Well,
Golem, Beast. Are these been
let me
errata to all be constructs yet?
I'm pretty sure they have been. I haven't double checked on them myself, however.
Um,
Now, so I'm gonna put a B in this bonnet right now because Savine's Reclamation also hits this one. Dig Site Engineer is an amazing card that came out in the Lorehold deck. Did you want to read that off, Lotus? Because
t-
I feel like you know this one.
2 and a white, Dwarf Artificer 3/3. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Yeah, I like this card. Yeah.
So here's a big construct for you to deal with anytime you cast an artifact spell, which we have quite a few.
Would that go hand in hand with Khan?
Karn, which one?
I don't want to do the disgusting Mycosynth lettuce lock Khan, but I do
Sure.
like the Khan that does make 0/0 constructs.
Okay. Scion of Urza.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Dominaria, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me just check it's the right one. So 4 mana, 5 map loyalty, Planeswalker Khan, +1. Reveal the top 2 cards of your library, and opponent chooses one of them. Put that card into your hand and exile the other with a silver counter on it. -1, put the card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. And -2, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with it gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. I
Sure.
think that's card advantage as well.
Yep.
Although if they exile something we really want, it's the next turn. But it's also creature building as well.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I I pulled a pre-release. This was my pre-release promo when I did it
Nice.
back in Dominaria days. And that was the first pre-release I ever went to. And I was like, oh, what's this card? You can throw this in? Why is this good? Now I know. Yeah.
Oh, Lotto. You can also layer the modular and brood moth trigger so that the counters go onto the creature that just died.
Oof. So move more modular counters. Well, okay, okay.
Sure.
I
Uh,
love it.
it's Urza's Saga. Ooh.
Yep. Urza's Saga, no mana required for an enchantment. Land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a land.
Urza's Saga gains on off of the first chapter. Urza's Saga gains tap, add a colorless. Chapter 2, Urza's Saga, gains 2 and tap to create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Seems like something we want to do
Yeah.
again. And the third one, search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Okay.
Yes, please.
One thing about that card, which I think some people are still getting wrong, which is understandable, because it says go get a mana cost 0 or 1, not mana
Right.
value. So
Right.
we can't get something like a Lotus Bloom that has suspend because it doesn't have a cost. It is literally blank. But we can
Correct.
get something that has a 0 because its mana value is 0.
Sure. So let's get our mana crypts, our soul rings, our well, I don't know.
Get the Ozolith, yes, Lotto.
Yep. I mean, if it was me, I'd definitely be getting Ozlith for that every single time. That's
Yeah,
just me.
seems just too good to not do.
Yep.
Ah, um, Mishra's Workshop. Would that be good?
Mishra's Workshop.
I know it's a silly janky land. It was just a land that creates not work. Is it Mishra's Workshop? No. Mishra's
Are you talking about Factory, the land?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mishra's
Target
Factory works.
I mean it's just a little it turns into a 2/2 and target assembly worker gets +1/+1. It's nothing special, but it just popped in my head.
Sure. I mean, hey, if we're doing that, let's talk about some of those lands. I would say, first of all, we definitely want an Ancient Den and a Great Furnace in here for artifact lands, right?
What is the
Uh,
workshop actually? Because Lotto Carnage is saying it. So tap to add 3 colorless mana to your mana pool. This mana may only be used to cast artifacts. Ah, okay. How much is that card? Four
quite a bit.
grand. 4 grand. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in the maybe board. But yes, absolutely, that card is bonkers. But yeah, 4 grand.
As chat blows up, yeah, that land costs money. Um, yeah, that'll do it. Uh, what? So yeah, let's talk about Great Furnace and Ancient Dens. How about like 35-cent cards, real quick?
Great for
Artifact lands that taps for a red and a white, respectively. So yeah,
yeah.
let's go ahead and throw those in.
What's the new one? The artifact dual land. What's that one?
Rustveil Bridge. So Rustveil Bridge, artifact land, enters the battlefield tapped. It is going to tap for a red or a white, and it is indestructible, and it has a home in this deck 100%.
Yeah. What was the white artifact land? Sorry, I missed that one.
Ancient Den. And yeah, I think it goes without saying that probably a Darksteel Citadel just to kind of round it all out.
Yeah. Did we want to
Uh,
do is this the deck for things like the Urza Mine Tower and Power Plant?
nah, I don't think we need those. I do think we need Blink Moth Nexus.
Yeah.
So Blink Moth Nexus, tap to add a colorless. Pay 1, Blink Moth Nexus becomes a 1/1 Blink Moth artifact creature token. Artifact creature with flying until end of turn. It's still a land. 1 and tap, target Blink Moth creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yeah, I like that.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
You're gonna put in Ink Moth now, aren't you?
Yep. We need those tattoos in our lives.
Yeah. So it's another land that taps for colorless, pay 1, and it becomes a 1/1 artifact creature with flying and infect till end of turn.
Mm-hmm,
We're
mm-hmm,
doing a lot of
mm-hmm.
infect today, huh?
Oh, we're not done.
With infect?
Yep, we're not done.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In any case, so yeah, let's get some infect creature lands. And while we're on the subject of lands, though, Slayer's Stronghold seems like a phenomenal card. Uh, Slayer's Stronghold is a land that just taps for a colorless. It is also in Lorehold Precon. And you can pay Boros, red and a white, and tap it to give a target creature +2/+0 and gains vigilance and haste until end of turn. So even if you don't have haste, you have haste now on this land.
It's not bad.
I love that Boros land so much. I wish it was in every color. Every color could run it. It'd be phenomenal.
Hey. We need some
So
removal for those pesky collector oofs. There's Lotto. Oh,
yeah.
I have pressed a button to TCG player for flawless maneuver because I has the smarts.
Near mint
And
only $10.24. Got
yeah,
it.
um, wear tear's a really good one.
Yep. Wear and tear.
Though wear and tear, I'm gonna have to crick my neck. One in a red, destroy target artifact.
Everybody.
A white, destroy target enchantment. I like that one. I like Rip Apart as well. I think it's its replacement, but it's down to individual taste. It's red and white for a sorcery. You get to choose one. Deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Destroy target artifact or enchantment.
I
So,
would say that I would say that the people that want to play Rip Apart are the people that don't like to crick their necks.
yeah. Or when you're looking at a card and you suddenly go, and they're like, oh, you're playing a split card because you've turned your card to the side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
I have to agree. If Rip Apart wasn't instant, it would be superb. I think running both would be
yeah.
just as good though.
Yeah, we can run both for now.
But
Um I think
oh
one of the best removals in this deck, however, just because of its sheer flexibility, is an austere command, in my opinion. A little bit more expensive in terms of the mana cost, but you get to choose to destroy all artifacts, enchantments, creatures with mana value 3 or less, mana value 4 or greater. So, us being fairly low to the ground in terms of mana value, we generally will pick whatever two we don't have. We're never picking destroy all artifacts. I can tell you that right now.
yeah, our mana curve's only 2.8.
Yup,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good time.
So also Swords to Plowshare and Path to Exile are another two targeted removals. Which I
Yep,
do actually like when we're in
hyper efficient removal because we are
yeah.
in white. Yep, when you're in white, you run it.
Oh, that's the Japanese art. I can't read it unfortunately.
Force the
Not
plowshares, exile a target creature, and
it's not
gain.
Yeah, I know what it does, but it's for people that don't. So we'll add in the Yargle one.
Sure, its controller gains life equal to its power. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
we love
Swords
it.
to Plowshare is that one, and then we have Path to Exile, which does a similar thing, except
It gives you.
they get to land.
Yep,
However, I quite like Solitude at the minute.
sure.
Um, it is pricey, but
Yep, because it's going to be a 4 of in bunch of decks.
it's 3 white white for a flash lifelink 3/2 elemental incarnation. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to one other target creature, and that creature's controller gains life equal to its power. So it Swords to Plowshare. Um,
Right.
and you can
I would
invoke it.
Yeah, I mean, I love that card. However, it is going to be expensive. I would just run a generous gift if it was up to me.
I'm gonna maybe board it just because this card is awesome, and it generally does look like a Blightsteel Colossus has just been vaporized.
Yeah, for me, it'd just be a generous gift. Also, in this deck specifically, you can run something like a dispatch instead of Solitude,
Oh,
and it'd be way better. Um, because dispatch is a 1 mana instant that has tap target creature, or if you have Metalcraft, If you control 3 or more artifacts, you exile that creature, and there's no life gain or
Yeah.
ramping for the opponent.
Generous Gift, Chaos Warp, probably good enough, yeah. I
Yep.
I like Chaos Warp, if I'm honest, because I can
Yep.
use it
Always fun.
either on someone else's creature, or I can use it on something that I have, like a 1/1 token, and get something ridiculous instead.
Yep. Seems pretty great.
So for 2 and a red, it's an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveal the top card of their library. If it's a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield.
Yep. Seems great.
I quite like. There's a recursion card in the new set, Modern Horizons 2, and it's late for dinner. Or
Late for dinner.
late to dinner, sorry.
There we go. Okay.
So it's a common, and it's 3 and a white. It's a sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield and create a food token.
Yeah. Does both.
So we get an artifact and whatever we want from our grave.
I like it.
And the sketched artwork is absolutely gorgeous.
um, I'm going to hop in here, and I think it's time. Uh, what are your thoughts about adding? Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna say what?
Abzan Battle Priest. Oh, what were you gonna say?
What you gonna put in a fight steel?
Oh, we'll get to that. But for the record, Lotus suggested it.
I
You heard it.
didn't. No.
Uh, so Abzan Battle Priest is 3 and a white for a 3/2 human cleric with Outlast for a white, white, and tap. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Outlast only as a sorcery. However, each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has lifelink.
Seems good. What's that
Yeah,
card?
modular.
What's the card that has creatures you control with +1/+1 counters have flying?
+1/+1 counters have flying.
Yeah. Is it Falconer? Falconer Adept? Nope. I'm sure Ashen will. Is it Asban
Abzan
Falconer?
Falconer.
Yeah, Asban Falconer. 2 and a white. Human soldier 2/3 with Outlast. Each creature you control with a +1 counter on it has flying.
Yeah, let's throw that in.
And
Seems great.
it might nombo, I think, with Luminous Brood Moth.
Right. Just don't play them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Clearly. So a couple of suggestions we have in chat are Arcbound Shikari and
Oh,
Arcbound Javelineer.
okay.
Shikari is the 1 and red and a white for an artifact creature. Cat Soldier 0/0 with first strike. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each other artifact creature you control.
Ooh,
And this has modular 2. Seems
okay.
pretty fantastic. And the other one is the Javelineer. Arcbound Javelineer is a 1 white creature, 0/1 artifact soldier creature. Tap it and remove X +1/+1 counters from Arcbound Javelineer. It deals X damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Modular 1.
Okay. Seems good.
Yeah.
So,
All those +1/+1 counters off of Ozolith go right on here, and then we could just remove them and deals X damage to an attacking or blocking creature just by tapping it. Yeah, I love it a lot.
so my thought pattern at the moment is modular only counts when it dies.
Hmm.
However, the Ozolith only cares that it left the battlefield.
Right.
So what if we did something like a Conjurer's Closet?
Okay.
It might not be. I might put it straight to sideboard because it's very niche. But it's a 5 mana artifact that at the beginning of your end step, exile a creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield. So I'm going to put it straight to maybe board. But if we had something like the Arcbound Shikari, we can exile it, which will put the counters on the Ozolith only the once because it didn't die. When it re-enters again, We'll get another 2 counters for its own modular ability, and then put a +1 counter on everything else.
Yeah, I could see that happening quite often, actually.
I mean, how many other creatures have ETBs? Quite a lot of them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, not including our modulars.
Yeah. I think it's worth considering.
Yeah, Breya's Apprentice has it. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Plus, it also will keep triggering Reckless Fireweaver. I mean, if we keep bouncing something like Dockside Extortionist, that's just dirty.
Sure. Let's see. Oh,
Ooh.
I've got one that I want to. Yeah. Uh, what are your thoughts on? Let's go with Bronze Guardian. I think Bronze
Ooh.
Guardian's a fun one.
Is that the one with Ward?
Yes, it is.
I,
Bronze Guardian.
I like this
Go ahead and
card.
read that one off.
So
I like it
four
a lot too.
4 and a white for an artifact creature golem with double strike. It's an X5. It has Ward 2, and other artifacts you control have Ward 2. Bronze Guardian's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control.
And it has double strike.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I actually found out why it doesn't say all artifacts you control have Ward, and instead of having Ward 2 and other artifacts you control have Ward 2.
Oh,
Well, it's in case it loses its own super type of being an artifact.
that's fair.
It's just some silly little thing that I learnt. Do we want... My brain instantly went, Bronze Guardian's going to get massive. Do we want to use Bosch? I was like, that doesn't work how I want it to.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, we have Digside Engineer making us constructs and Karn making constructs. So yeah, I think we'll get there. Um, yeah.
So
You
Luther
mentioned the
says,
Lightsteel earlier.
no. Luther says, so I have some tech suggestions. Animation module for chump blockers. Giraport Ether Grid for WinCon. Block of Omens for mana ramp shenanigans. Energy Chamber is a steady value. Power Conduit does funny things. And Together Forever for recursion.
Ooh, okay.
That's a lot
Let's
going on
work
there.
out. Let's go from the top. I do like Together Forever. I will start with that. However, Animation Module is a 1 mana artifact for that says whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are placed on a permanent you control, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Already, I love it.
Mhm.
3 and tap. Choose a counter on a target permanent or player. Give that permanent or player another counter of that kind. Yes.
Okay, so isn't there...
Now we need Blightsteel. What?
So doesn't this pair with a decoction module and fabrication module?
Decoction module?
So I think there's 3 modules. So you've got this one that says whenever a +1 counter goes onto a permanent, pay 1, make a 1/1. Then decoction module says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, get an energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, fabrication, says whenever you get an energy, put a +1 counter on a creature you control.
Okay. I see,
So
I see.
yeah, those ones just seem to just go off.
Yep.
And that would make us a lot of artifacts. Plus, we're also running Krark Clan Ironworks.
Yes, we are.
So we can sacrifice 1 Thopter to make 2 mana, which would pay for 2 rounds of the animation module. So technically we can make, infinite Thopters and +1 counters.
Yep,
That's disgusting.
I love it. Lotto Carnage also says Sword of the Meek, and now you have a combo.
Sword of the Meek. 2 mana, artifact equipment, +1/+2, and equip for 2. Whenever a 1/1 creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Sword of the Meek from the graveyard to the battlefield, then attach it to that creature. Oh, yeah, so we sack this for the mana instead of the Thopter.
Yep.
Sure, let's go for a combo.
Yeah, we gotta have at least one, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be brewing it live without infect and combos.
You still haven't put in Blightsteel.
Fine.
uh, yeah. So Ashen says, I do love me a Thopter Sword combo. Thopter Foundry is Esper, so no good here, but I still love it. Yep.
Do you want to read Blightsteel? Because I still... It gives me
Yep, change the art
nightmares.
though.
You want me to change?
12 mana. 12 mana for an artifact creature golem. 11/11. Trample, infect, and indestructible. If Blightsteel Colossus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Blightsteel Colossus and shuffle it into its owner's library instead.
Nice. So we can't get milled out unless they exile it.
Yeah. This is for mill.
Yeah, it's to stop us being milled.
Yep, I'm happy with it. So yeah,
Okay. We're
we have
currently
a
at 99 cards, so we're doing really well.
yep. So how many artifacts are we looking at? 18?
Well, 18 plus the creature count, so 18.
Yep. I think at this point, I think it's safe to say we have a ton of artifacts. I would love to just put in a Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge is 4 mana for an artifact. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. Tap, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library.
Yeah. And I think that puts us nearly like 40% of our deck is artifacts.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. So, is there anything in here that you... This is going to you as well, chat. Is there anything in here you feel doesn't work with what we're doing, or is there something you'd rather see in here? Is there any utility lands that you would like to see in here? I mean, I know you can put in dual lands, shock lands, fetch lands, but we don't need to worry about those details because that's down to individual taste and costing. I mean, is there
Ashton.
Soul Ring bad? No, Soul Ring good in this. We can sacrifice it for 2 mana after tapping it for 2 mana.
Lotto Carnage also says, yeah, you're definitely not going to Goblin Welder, Blightsteel onto the battlefield with a Faithless Looting on turn 2. That is the dream.
Oh,
However,
I just realized we can do that.
that is the dream. However, um, as far as how about an Inventor's Fair? That seems good.
Oh, of course.
At the beginning of your upkeep, Inventor's Fair is a legendary land. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. This will be very easy in our deck. Tap to add a colorless, and pay 4 and tap, sacrifice Inventor's Fair. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. Activate this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts.
Yeah,
So yeah, let's go ahead and make sure that's in there because it's important.
very important.
Um, ooh, Power Depot is a new one in Modern Horizons 2, actually. Power Depot is an artifact land. It enters the battlefield tapped. Tap and add a colorless. Or tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. Land has modular 1
Oh, nice.
because it's an artifact land.
Yeah, I like that actually.
So, yeah. I quite like that.
Okay.
The only other one I can think of, oh, actually, I can think of two. There is a
Mm.
Spire of Industry.
Well, before we do that one,
Ooh,
Luther is just
Sequestered Stash.
Glimmer Void.
Glimmer Void.
Yeah, it's a land. At the beginning of the end step, if you control no artifacts, sacrifice it, and it taps to add one mana of any color. Very on.
Yeah, seems
It's on
fantastic.
theme.
Yeah, let's
Um,
throw that in there.
what was the one you suggested?
Sequestered Stash. Sequestered Stash is one that Luther suggested as well as on top of Power Depot. Sequestered Stash, land taps for colorless, 4 and tap, sacrifice Sequestered Stash, put the top 5 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may put an artifact from your graveyard on top of your library.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah, I like.
Buried Ruin. I can see Buried Ruin for sure. Uh, Buried Ruin reads tap for colorless,
Yep,
2 and tap, sacrifice Buried Ruin, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Yep, love it.
seems good.
I was suggesting Spire of Industry, which is what Lotto Carnage also just suggested. Spire of Industry taps for colorless, taps and pays 1 life to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Activate this ability only if you control an artifact.
I mean, that's
Should
not
be
going
no
to be
problem.
hard. I mean, even our lands are artifacts.
Yep, should be no problemo.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm just thinking of cards that I really want to see in this deck at this point.
yeah. I'm trying to
Hmm,
think. Actually, it's. Oh, you know what? Who we forgot?
who did we
I'm
forget?
even going to go down to 35 lands to squeeze it in.
It's okay.
Duretti.
Yeah, Duretti's fantastic. Scrap Savant,
Yeah,
Planeswalker Duretti.
of course. Three and a red.
Yeah.
3 and a red for a 3 loyalty planeswalker Duretti. +2. Discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. -2. Sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact from the graveyard to the battlefield. -10. You get an emblem. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step.
Lotto Carnage says, you missed my Duretti suggestion earlier, I see, Kappa.
I'm sorry. I've played against someone that ultimated this and just kept sacrificing um worm coil engine. It
It
was
seems fun.
it was horrendous.
Luther AD, Phyrexia's core has some corner cases to mess with targeting requirements. Phyrexia.
uh A1, sacrifice an artifact, gain a life. I mean, if it saves one of our artifacts from being exiled, that's pretty good.
Yeah, both the Nexus lands make for friendly lands in this deck. Yep, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Uh, you know what could be good? I know you like Dolmen's Gate.
I
Uh,
do. I really do.
thoughts on Erois, God of Victory instead?
God of
We're in
Victory.
Boros. Yeah. 2 white and red for an indestructible 7/4 enchantment creature god. As long as your devotion to red and white is less than 7, it's not a creature, but creatures you control have menace and prevent all damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control.
Ooh, prevent all damage, so even combat tricks.
Yep.
Ooh, I like that. Now, what are we cutting?
So that's what I was looking at. I think that maybe the Javelineer, actually, because it's deal X damage to target attacking or blocking creature.
Seems reasonable.
It has to be a blocking or attacking creature. It's very niche as far as when we can activate it, so I think that's one that
Yeah.
we can cut. Um, and ooh,
Ooh,
I thought of one that's good, and I can't remember the name of it.
what's it do?
Uh, when it dies, you exile it, return it to the battlefield. All artifacts and creature cards in your graveyard come back.
Ashen?
Gerard, the
Oh,
Weatherlight hero.
yeah.
Lotto Carnage. You want to add Heliod Walking Ballista? I mean, it'll get there. I think our one janky combo is good enough with Sword of the Meek, though.
True. Um, instead of I'm gonna put Gerard in, but I might take Asban Falconer out just because it nombos with Mothra.
Brood Moth. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
What was the other suggestion? Heliod and Walking Ballista too strong. Um, um, I. It's a good win con. You know what? I'm gonna put
It
it straight in the maybe board because it is a very good combination of cards. Um, and yes, Heliod and Walking Ballista do go really well. Sun Crowned isn't.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't gain much life in this deck, but those two cards
But when
just
we
go.
do,
Oh, is it Cartha's Crusade?
oh yeah, how do we forget Cathar's Crusade?
Um,
Ooh, I just thought of one too.
the one I'm thinking of.
Cathar's Crusade. Yeah,
Yeah, 3
it
white
has to be
white
plus
enchantment.
counter to the
Whenever a
war.
creature enters the battlefield, put a +1 counter on each creature you control. Yeah, that just goes mad. I think I would
Oh,
rather. Oh, yeah.
we missed a couple of suggestions from Luther earlier. I just realized because we didn't have it in here. Um, Giriper Aether Grid for a win con was one.
Report
We're
Ether
gonna have
Grid.
to make some cuts, but yes, Giriper Aether Grid.
Okay. 2 and a red enchantment. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
So that's supposed to be a win con.
Okay.
Also
Uh,
says Luther also mentioned Clock of Omens. I would put that in the maybe board for now. Um, Clock of Omens for mana ramp / shenanigans.
nope, omens. 4 mana. Tap 2 untapped artifacts. Roll untapped target artifact.
Tap stuff, untap stuff, tap stuff, untap stuff.
Yeah.
Energy Chamber. You can throw that in the maybe board as well, because I think these go together pretty much.
Okay.
Energy Chamber is 2 mana for an artifact at the beginning of your upkeep. Choose one, put a +1/+1 counter on a target artifact creature, or put a charge counter on target non-creature artifact.
Yeah.
Okay, steady value. And then Power Conduit does funny things, and Together Forever for recursion, which is what I thought of.
Okay.
Uh, Power Conduit is 2 mana for an artifact. Tap, remove a counter from a permanent you control. Choose one. Put a charge counter on target artifact, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. I think that's again maybe board for now. But
I
yeah,
like that
Together
because
Forever is.
it says remove a
Oh, you do?
counter. So, I
Yeah.
mean, put it in the baby board for now, but I like this because if a creature dies, Mothra brings it back, puts a flying counter on it. We can remove the flying counter and bring it back again.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
it's
like that actually. It could be good. Let's throw that in then. We'll find a card for it.
is that just a plain artifact? It is.
It is. Yep. Uh, so the one that I was really excited about was Together Forever.
Okay.
2 mana for 2 white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, support 2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. But you could also have an activated ability of pay 1, choose a target creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand.
Ooh.
So that could do some fun things.
Yeah.
That could do a lot of fun things.
I like that.
So once it's once it's dead to a Mothra or anything like that, we can just choose to pay 1 and bring it back and do it all over again.
Yeah. So we now have to cut 3 cards.
Yep.
Okay.
Looking through myself.
What 3 cards are probably not the best? Should we take out Dispatch because we've already got Path and or do we just take out Path to Exile?
Yeah, I think the exile because the ramp. I don't mind the swords to plowshares.
Take out the swords. Yeah, let's take out the Path. Yeah,
Yeah, we have dispatch in, so I think that that's ramping somebody else is usually not the best idea, in my
that's
personal
fair.
opinion.
Um,
Um, you have protection, in flawless maneuver, deflecting SWAT, so I like that.
is Walking Atlas going to give us enough benefit all the way through the game?
Probably not. I
Okay,
think Walking Atlas can go. I think we could agree on that.
and then one more. Um,
Ooh, Luther has a good um point. The Conduit works with Planeswalker counters as well. Um,
ooh,
one more. Let's see. So I have one. I think it's gonna have to be for me, anyways. I would take a hard look at. I think it's might be the Brea's Apprentice. What are your thoughts? Because it creates a one artifact on ETB.
it
Tap and
doesn't
sack an artifact.
do enough.
That's what I think as well.
Yeah,
Oh, Luther says you can cut Sunbeam Spell Bomb. That's probably a good one too, actually, rather than uh Brea. I would agree with that actually.
yeah.
The Pyrite Spell Bomb at least does 2 damage, so we can do that over and over. But the Sunbeam is gain life,
That
5 life gain
that's
or draw card.
yeah, that's understandable.
And I have a hot I have a hot take on something. Do we cut the Savine's Reclamation? Just hold on, listen. For a Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle in this deck?
Okay, let's have a look.
Uh, Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle is 3 and a white for a 2/2 bird cleric with flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh no, that's a swap.
But it does limit it to creatures, right?
We have 26 of
Savine,
them.
right? But we also could potentially want our Abiding Grace and things like that. It's a conversation. We're just
I'm okay. I would like to keep Teshar in. I'm gonna put Savine Reclamation back, but take out Late for Dinner.
okay.
And that way we still have Savine, which is powerful. Late for Dinner is fine. It makes an artifact food and returns a creature. But Savine has flashback and can technically bring back 3 instead of 2. So
Okay.
that's my thought passage.
I like it. Yeah, is there anything else that you really want in here?
I mean,
Because I
I'm
have one that is a questionable one, and I will throw it out to you guys. But
okay.
uh I forgot about this card until you mentioned Cathar's Crusade, but yeah, all that glitters.
I like the card. I really do. I just think it's not the right deck for it. If we
I
were,
mean,
if we
Zabaz can just one shot someone.
true, if we went down, yeah, I see where you're going, but I don't
Insect commanders.
think we.
It's just fun. It's just funny for me. I don't think we need it either, actually. But
Oh, oh, Han.
just the thought of 2 mana, all that glitters. Whoa, that thing got big.
I'm I'm trying to think if there's anything else we really need.
Mm-mm. I think we need a scrap mastery. That's a thought.
Scrap Mastery?
Yeah. We have Duretti in here. Scrap Savant.
Each player exiles all artifact cards from their graveyard, then sacrifice all artifacts. Oh, so it's a living death for
For
artifact.
artifacts.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna be really, really dumb and just go down to 34 lands just because I can't be. I think I think we're
34 lands, sure.
I think we're fine for land and mana. We've got Archaeomancer's Map, we've got Land Tax, we've got Soul Ring, we've got Boros Signet, we've got Krark Clan
Lotto Carnage.
Ironworks.
Lotto Carnage says you could use Blade of Selves for some fun modular interaction. Luther seconds it. Blade of Selves.
Blade of Selves?
Yeah. Equipped creature has Myriad.
Ooh, that's going in. Oh my god. Now I am taking out Bray's Apprentice.
Yep. That's fine. Buy Apprentice.
Oh, that's disgusting. Hang on a minute. Blade of Selves.
Did you want to
Whenever it attacks.
explain how Blade of Selves will work?
Yeah, so 2 mana, and equipment, equip for 4. Equipped creature has Myriad. Whenever it attacks, for each opponent other than the defending player, you may make a token that's a copy of the creature that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. So, if we attach it to a modular creature, they get the counters for entering. Then we also get triggers of Cartha's Crusade for each one. Then, because they're
Right.
leaving the battlefield, the modular won't trigger, but the Ozolith will see it. Oh, this is dumb. But we can also sacrifice them if we attach it to an artifact creature to Krark Clan Ironworks and then trigger modular again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dumb.
Unless they get blocked or sacked.
Yeah, that's dumb. I like it.
Yeah.
This is
Seems pretty
100.
good.
This is 100 cards of pure evil.
I don't know about pure evil. It's pretty great
You know what's scary?
that we could still make more artifacts.
I own most of these cards in my little singleton collection.
Does not surprise me in the slightest.
I might actually build this.
You should do it.
I don't have a blight.
You should do it.
I don't have a blight steel, so I might have to use something like the Conjurer's Closet or
Okay. I I think I have an idea. Uh, can we have the mirror scrappling, which I think is strictly better than a sparring construct. So I'm thinking about taking out the sparring construct here.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the new card actually? Out of Modern Horizons 2, Search the Premises
I
seems
am.
phenomenal in this deck.
Uh,
So, Search the Premises, 3 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, investigate. Create a colorless clue artifact token with 2. Sacrifice this artifact, draw a card.
so it's card draw, artifacts. It's everything we need.
Yeah. And yeah, attack us, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that's strictly better than the sparring construct, I would say.
Yeah.
If you can think of anything else, I mean, I would totally even take out the mirror scrappling, but yeah, this is a fun looking deck so far.
Yeah. It's whenever a creature attacks. So if they attack us with 4, we get 4 triggers.
Yep. And 4 artifacts, so that means that anytime Reckless Fireweaver, let's just just as a for
Oh,
example.
can you just imagine it? Someone makes 1,000,000 tokens and is like, I'm going to swing out for 1,000,000. Okay, I'll make 1,000,000 clue tokens and
And
deal you.
Reckless Fireweaver will deal 1,000,000 damage. I love it so much.
Ashen's not allowed us to say Soul Ring now. They've banned us from saying that word.
Well, you just said it.
I have to say that we can't say that word.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I love this so much.
We could always put in a soul talisman. You know what, Ashen?
Yeah.
You're right. Let's cut the soul ring. I agree.
That's it.
And I'm just gonna put in a soul talisman because it makes us both win.
A lot of Connor says, yes, cut it for Mana Crypt. um, all right. I want to talk about one modal card. I think we can cut one plains if we add a Sigiri shelter. I think that's pretty good protection. And one mountain for a Valakut Awakening seems good.
Okay, so the shelter is a land on the back, 1 and a white.
Yep.
Target creature control gains protection from the color of your choice to end a turn. Yeah, that's a land on the back. And we'll cut
And Valakut Awakening.
a mountain, Valakut.
Valakut Awakening. 2 and a red for an instant. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library. Then draw that many cards +1.
Yep. And as it
So a
lands on the
nice way
back,
to
it doesn't
nice way
matter.
to get some yeah, nice way to get some artifacts that we can't even cast onto, you know, right there onto the bottom of the library and just get some new cards. Not the worst.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'm quite happy how this turned out.
Yeah. We
Other
got some
than
infect in
other than
here,
other than the
on
soul
theme with insects.
other than soul talisman, gonna switch them back. Um, but otherwise, I'm really excited about this deck. This is actually really interesting.
Spicy. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I think I'm gonna build this.
Yep.
Maybe tweak it slightly to my own playstyle. Maybe not so much infect, but
Shh.
I'm definitely going to run most of this.
Well, I mean, you've got a bunch of maybe board cards that you could sub out for all of those infect cards, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean we have a lot.
Yep, yep.
You should trade
But yeah,
Blight Steel for Dark
Dark
if it
Steel.
eases your soul. I mean, Dark Steel Colossus is nice. I was thinking of putting in Dark Steel Forge personally.
Yeah. You
Um,
could also just do some mana efficiency things like what am I thinking of? Foundry Inspector, Joyer's Familiar type stuff if you really want to make artifacts cost less.
yeah.
Um, just,
Um,
easy includes that way. But
I was also considering because I upgraded the Alabu deck because I had Alabu as the commander.
mm,
I was going to put in Reconnaissance because I was
oh,
going
yep.
to attack with my artifact creatures, trigger Alabu, and then untap them all from combat. So I still get the
Mhm.
attack trigger, but I've removed them from combat to save them from actually being damaged.
Yeah.
But
I mean, oh, put this in your maybe board in case you decide to throw it in because I know how much you love this mechanic. Shimmer Mirror.
oh,
Straight,
Flash.
straight in the maybe board. Yep. 3 for a 2/2 mirror artifact creature with flash, and you may cast artifact spells as though it had flash.
That seems fair. I mean, Vidalcanori might go in as well, just because.
I mean, yep. Seems good. Yep.
But yeah,
But yeah, I
you
like it.
happy to call it there?
Yep. I am fantastic with this. It seems like so much fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, within the next 30 minutes, this should be on the Into the 99 website under content, brewing it live at the bottom of the page. It will be the link to this deck list. So you can look at it yourself. You can take a copy of it and edit it how you like. Also on our website, you can see other videos, articles, our podcasts, and the link to our Discord community. So you can actually chat to us in there and with other members of the community about other decks that we're brewing. If you want to support us in a more financial way, we have Patreon, and we also have a merch store, so you can actually wear the 99, not just get into it. But otherwise, we'll be back the same time next week. Not sure what we're going to brew this time. You'll have to keep an eye out on the website and see what we decide in the next hour. Because I'm not sure what I'd like to actually do. Unless chat has a suggestion in the next couple of minutes, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've got some ideas. However, Zabaz was a lot of fun for me, so I think it's your turn to have some fun, in my
True.
opinion. But
I mean, we did
yeah,
Chapter Fang last week, so I can't do squirrels again.
otherwise you would.
I would. You know, no, I'm not going to do Malafor. That's a private project.
That's fair.
But yeah,
But yeah,
keep an eye out on our website for next week's commander, and come chat to us in Discord. Otherwise, thanks for joining us, and see you next week.
we love you all. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Into the